What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Ring Chasers podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm here with my co-host.
Jacob, you know it.
And today, we're going to be talking about the Eastern Conference semifinals and give a little preview to the Eastern Conference finals.
That's right, man. You know, it's a lovely Thursday morning, getting to record in the pod studio, the Escape Pod
Let's go.
out here. And I got the first series here of
Let's hear it.
semifinals. We got the 1 seed Miami Heat versus the 4 seed Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Philly, if you remember what happened at the end of the Raptors series, Embiid got an orbital fracture, which is in your face, and he's also a concussion protocol, so he does miss the first 2 games in Miami. And Kyle Lowry also was dealing with a hamstring thing in the first round, and he missed most of this series. So he missed game 1 and game 2 at least.
Tough.
In game 1, the Heat did win 106-92 to take a 1-0 series lead. It was a pretty close game in the first half, and then Miami went on a 10-0 run in the third, and then a 13-2 run early in the fourth to just kind of put this game away. Both teams didn't shoot great. They combined to shoot 15 of 70 from 3. The Sixers only made 6 3-pointers, and the Heat only made 9, so kind of a tough night from beyond the arc. But Miami did win the rebound battle by 10, and they did lead by as many as 21 points. Tobias Harris did step up without Embiid, had 27 points. But, Harden, man, only 16 and 9 and 5 assists with 5 turnovers, so he had a tough night. And then Maxey had an okay night with 19, and he shot okay.
That's all right.
But, for the Heat, man, Bam had 24 and 12. Hero showed out with 25 points and 7 assists with no turnovers.
Nice.
And then Jimmy Butler, a guy who did it all first round, kind of struggled this game, only 15 points, 5 of 16 shooting. But, they didn't really need Butler with the other 2 guys stepping up.
Nah.
And, Harden and the 76ers, they just kind of had no answer for the Heat defense. And P.J. Tucker, who's kind of their anchor, he's kind of brings all that aggression and energy that game. And, it was a kind of a grinded-out game, not a great shooting night, but the Heat ended up coming away with it. Moving on, game number 2. The Heat also win, keeping their home court advantage 119-103. As I said, Embiid and Lowry did not play. This is an interesting one. For the 76ers, George Niang fouled out in only 10 minutes of play.
How does that happen?
And I think it's one of the least amount of minutes in a playoff game where a guy's fouled out. I don't know how you foul out by only playing 10 minutes. That's really bad. Miami
just went out there swinging.
woke up and chose violence. Miami went on another game of runs for Miami. They went on a 10-0 run in the fourth, and they got out to an 18-point lead to steal the game in the fourth quarter. The Heat shot 6% better from the field and 22% better from 3. 76ers only made 8 3-pointers that game, which I guess is better than the first game, but the Heat also shot better.
Yeah.
And the Heat were kind of just more physical this game, and they won the rebound battle by 10. They shot 9 more free throws. They were just kind of getting after it a little more in the paint. For box score, Harris had 21 points. Harden kind of struggled against shooting, but he had 20 points. Danny Green, 1 of 10 from the field and 1 of 9 from 3.
Looking
he had
like
3
LA
points.
out here.
Oh, my God. He made a house with all those bricks. And Maxey went off this game. He had 34 points with, I think, most of his points coming in the second half, which is good to see him kind of get going. But, not enough, especially without Embiid. And then for the Heat, Jimmy Butler had a better game, 22 and 12 assists. Bam dominated the paint again, 23 and 9. Harrow had 18 off the bench, which was solid. And Oladipo, he's kind of stepped up on and off for the Heat these playoffs. 19 off the bench for him. And then we go back to Philly for game number 3. The 76ers win 99-79. And guess who's back? Back again. Embiid is back. And so is Kyle Lowry. They both come back from their injuries. And, this was a really bad shooting night for Miami. They only shot 35% from the field and 23% from 3. And the 76ers, they shot 48% from the field and 49% from 3. So, the Heat just kind of got outshot this game. They were getting a lot of open shots, but they just weren't making them. And that's kind of what their downfall was this game. I mean, they only scored 79 points. And the 76ers with Embiid back won the rebound battle by 9. But Philly, this was kind of a weird one here, especially for a blowout. Philly had 19 turnovers to Miami's 12.
Wow.
But Miami's only lead in the game was 6-4. So it just kind of came down to Miami didn't make shots. Well, one guy that did make shots for Miami was Jimmy G Buckets, 33 points for him. Tyler Hero, not a great shooting night, had 15 points. And nobody else really contributed. Bam struggled with Embiid's paint presence back. He wasn't able to feast as much, and kind of nothing else. Lowry, I don't think Lowry scored in his game back from injury, but he didn't look like himself even. Looked like he was still fighting that hamstring injury. Yeah. And then for the 76ers, Embiid playing with a mask as well because of his face injury, had 18 and 11. You know, not bad when you got a guy who's fighting with like 3 different injuries. He also has like a torn ligament in his thumb. This guy's just putting everything out there. Danny Green, that guy had a way better game this game, 21 points. Same with Maxey. All of Maxey's 21 points were in the second half. And then Harden had another mid-game, I guess, 17, 8, and 6 with 7 turnovers. So this kind of looks like the new James Harden that we're gonna see, because he hasn't really shown out that much in these playoffs, or even with Philly. And that will move us on to game number 4. The Heat trying to take the home court advantage from the 76ers. It does not happen. Philly wins 116-108 to tie the series up 2-2. Kyle Lowry, as I said in game 3, didn't really look right. He went to the locker room at halftime, still looking sore from that hamstring injury. I mean, he's just kind of trying to fight through it. But he didn't look great. Miami, once again, a tough shooting night from 3, only 20% compared to Philly's 48% from 3. And kind of like game 3, Miami had a lot of good looks, but they just couldn't make the shots they had. And that's kind of been the story of these last 2 games. They were just missing a lot of open shots. And kind of like game 3, Philly had 17 turnovers, but they ended up scoring 24 points off the Heat's 13 turnovers. So they kind of even that out. But kind of once again, man, this game's a lot like game 3, although it was more scoring. Like the only guy who shot well for the Heat, Jimmy Butler, goes off 40 piece.
Wow.
And as of that game, he was the only player in the playoffs this year to have multiple 40 bombs. And then Bam had a solid 21, and Oladipo had 15 off the bench. And, you know, as we were saying, you know, Harden kind of looking like this new Harden. He says, turns back the clock.
This new Harden been like that.
31, 7, and 9 for Harden. But he had 6 turnovers, which I guess is less than last game. But the big thing was he shot the ball better, and he looked more aggressive this game. He wasn't kind of waiting to wait out that shot clock. Back when he was younger and he had more pep to his step, I guess.
He took better shots back then. Like now he dribbles and doesn't get a great shot.
Yeah, whereas this game he just kind of went and got his shot right away.
He got a shot.
Like first 10 seconds of the shot clock, went and got his shot right away, which was what he did this game for them. And then also for the 76ers, Harris had 13, Danny Green had 11, Maxey had 18, and they all kind of contributed well. And Yang had 10 off the bench after fouling out last game. And then that's going to do it for game 4. Moving on to game number 5. We go back to Miami. We go back to South Beach. And Miami. The Heat blow out the 76ers. 120-85. Lowry, we said he was struggling with that hamstring. He does not play this game.
Tough.
It is a big loss for the Heat. And this one was all Miami after the 76ers kind of dominated in Philly. The 76ers' only lead was 10-9, like halfway through the first quarter. And then the Heat went on a 12-0 run to just kill the 76ers' hopes. Just stomped on their necks. And that's kind of what Miami's been doing. They've been going on lots of runs. You know, they went on multiple 10-0 runs in the second half. And that's how they've been winning their games. They've been going on a lot of runs these playoffs. And they were also a lot more physical this game, winning the rebound battle by 10. 20 more points in the paint than Philly. And, 76ers still struggling with those turnovers, had 16 compared to Miami's 11. And Miami shot better from the floor and from 3-point, like significantly better. And then for the 76ers box score, I mean, Harris had 12, Maxey had 9, and Harden kind of settled down after that last game with only 14. They all kind of shot poorly. And then Embiid, 17 points for him, kind of still dealing with all three of his injuries, I guess. And then off the bench for the Heat, Tyler Hero had a solid 10 points. He shot the ball better, kind of just didn't take as many shots. And then Oladipo had 13. And then for the starters for the Heat, all 5 starters were in double digits for points. PJ Tucker had 10, which for him is a good game.
Yeah, that's a great game for PJ nowadays.
Jimmy Butler, 23, 9, and 6. He's been going off these playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Bam had 12 points, which is like okay, I guess. But Gabe Vincent, where did he come from? 15 points. And Max Strus, 19 points and 10 rebounds. He really stepped up for Kyle Lowry.
Oh, yeah. He's done that
in this
series.
round. In this series. And then we move on to game number 6. Will Philly win and push it to game 7? No. No, they will not. 99-90 is the score. Miami wins the series to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Kyle Lowry doesn't play again. That's tough for him. We've said it all series.
Miami has looked better without him, though.
That's very true, but it's also because Kyle Lowry hasn't played well when he played these playoffs because he hasn't been healthy. Danny Green, that you hate to see it as much as we roast him, left the game in the first quarter with a serious knee injury.
It was reported an ACL tear.
Yeah, that's not good for Philly next year. It's kind of one of their space guys.
He's one of those spacer guys, and they just traded Seth Curry too, who's their other space guy.
Yeah, so they're gonna struggle from the 3-point line to start next season.
And then you have Harden now, who can shoot and space it a little bit.
He can shoot if he actually takes good shots.
Yeah, and then
yeah, but sticking with
they need to make some free agency moves.
Oh yeah, I mean every team does. This game was kind of close in the first half, and then James Harden just stopped shooting, and the Heat went on a 16-2 run in the third quarter. Kind of just what we just talked about.
Yeah. This new Harden. It's not that new.
The Heat dominated the rebound battle again, 49-35. They shot better from the floor, but they only shot 7 for 28 from 3, compared to Philly, who made 12 3-pointers. So Philly kind of shot better from 3 that game. But for the Heat, I mean, Tucker had another 12-point game. Solid. That's solid for him. Jimmy Butler, Jimmy G Buckets shooting that thing, 32 and 8 rebounds. Bamley had 10 points, but he didn't miss a shot. He went 5 for 5 from the floor. So I guess that's a decent game, I guess.
You need more than that from Bam, though.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we got Jimmy Butler going off.
I mean, I also understand he's a 6'9" center going against Joel Embiid.
Yeah, and Max Strus, this guy, 20 and 11 for him.
Man, he's picking up the slack.
And for the 76ers, as I mentioned earlier, James Harden, 11 points and 9 assists, and all 11 of those points were in the first half, and he took 1 shot in the second half.
For being one of what a lot of people consider one of the best players in the league the last decade.
Yeah, he has looked really bad this year
and last year.
And yeah, even last year.
You need him to shoot the ball. Big time players hit big time shots, and he used to be that guy that hit the big time shots.
And now he hasn't been taking the big time shots.
He just doesn't take shots.
Yeah, he's been he's been trying to facilitate more. Oops. But then he has 8 turnovers a game.
Yeah,
so it doesn't work.
And then when he does shoot, a lot of times it's bad efficiency.
Yeah. And then also for the 76ers, Embiid 20 and 12. I guess a good game for him.
Solid.
But I mean, you got to think this guy's playing with a mask. He's got
masked Embiid. That man's different.
But he's got a fractured face.
Yeah, fair enough.
And a torn ligament in his thumb in his right hand.
Fair enough.
Maxey had 20, didn't shoot great, and then Tobias Harris an okay night with 14, and then Shake Milton, 15 off the bench for him. And that's gonna wrap up this series. I mean, some final takes. Miami's defense only held Philly They held them to under 100 points per game at 97.5, compared to what they averaged during the season was 109.9. So Miami's defense was really good this series. The 76ers have not advanced past the second round since 2001.
AI, baby.
So
AI.
I don't know if we should trust the process anymore.
I don't know.
It hasn't been working out, man.
Joel's pretty damn good.
Joel's pretty good, man, but they haven't had anybody else through the process.
Yeah.
As we said, Embiid injured all series. He wasn't usually as dominant or physical as he normally is, only just under 20 points per game and just under 10 rebounds.
Well, that's like you said. He had a lot of injuries.
He had a lot of injuries, so
He gets a little pass. Here.
he does get a pass here. I mean, Harden does not get a pass.
No.
He was mediocre all series long, except for the one game where he turned back the clock. I mean, he averaged 18 points a game, 7 assists, and almost 5 turnovers a game.
Damn.
When you're, I'd say, the number one option with Embiid, not going to be as physical as he normally is.
Still averaged less than Embiid.
He still averaged less than Embiid. So, I mean, then Jimmy Butler, man, he showed the 76ers why they should not have passed up on him in 2019 for Ben and Tobias Harris. Did you see the clip of him running off the court, man?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
He's like, Tobias Harris over me? Tobias Harris over me? Man, that was funny. Jimmy Butler's, he's a character, man. He says what's on his mind.
Yeah, that's sometimes good in situations unlike the Minnesota situation.
Yeah. Unlike the
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
A bunch of scrubs. I want to beat them all.
And then, this series, 27.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists for Jimmy Butler. I mean, he's been going off these playoffs a little less than last series, but I mean, still a great series nonetheless. Max Strus stepped up in the last 2 games of the series without Kyle Lowry. I mean, 19 points and 20 points in games 5 and 6. So I mean, good to see him go. And then Duncan Robinson, after being like a good role player for him during the season and the first round, he only played in 3 games and barely got any minutes. I don't know if it's matchups, because I'm not going to argue with Eric Spoelstra.
No, Spoelstra's,
he's one of the best coaches ever.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest coaches of the modern era.
And, I'm not going to argue with him, but you got a guy like Duncan Robinson who played pretty good during the regular season. He wasn't bad during the regular season.
He had a worse year this year than he's had.
That's true.
He had an okay year this year.
But,
he had a solid first round.
In the first round, the games where he actually got minutes, he played well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the meaning was. Maybe just matchups. So we'll see what happens in the next round. Tyler Hero definitely needs to be more consistent for the Heat if they're gonna beat either the Bucks or the Celtics, whoever comes out of that series. We'll find out in a few minutes. But he needs to be more efficient and more consistent for the Heat. Because I mean, Oladipo, he was there occasionally. But I can't expect him to be like that every night for them. And then, I mean, one little icing on the cake here for this series. Is this the new James Harden?
We've talked about this. We think it is, and it looks like Embiid thinks so too.
Embiid thinks it is too. He said in his post-game press conference, this is the new James. This is what he looks like.
This is what he is. He won't be the same thing he was in Houston.
And which is
facts.
And the 76ers lost that trade. Okay, moving on.
Well, depends if Simmons plays or not. If Simmons doesn't play, then I think it's pretty.
Well, it looks like he's gonna play next season, because he's getting back surgery.
You never know.
He's getting back surgery.
Yeah, but you never
know.
So
it seems like it was a legit injury.
What if his leg hurts next year?
True, but I still think the Nets are getting more production out of Andre Drummond and Seth Curry than
I don't know. Drummond, he puts up the numbers, but you can't have him on in the fourth quarter.
True, he can't shoot free throws, but
if I'm the Nets, I'm playing Claxton more than I'm playing Drummond.
Okay, but I don't know. I like Drummond because he's gonna be more physical and he's stronger than Claxton. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's not about this. But I think that the Nets definitely won that trade.
I think it's close. All right. Well, I think this is time to transition over to my series, Celtics Bucks. Let's see who's going to play Miami in the conference finals.
Oh yeah.
So right at the gate, game 1, Milwaukee, your reigning champs, takes game 1, 101-89. Got 25 from Drew Holiday. It's a really good game for him, I'd say. If you get 25 from Drew, that's pretty nice. And especially with Middleton out, you kind of need him to do that.
Yeah, I'll talk more about this after the series with Middleton missing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to see Drew step up this game.
Yeah, and you had a nice 24, 13, and 12 triple-double from Giannis. Like,
okay, Giannis.
man, Giannis is the best player in the league.
Giannis is so good.
He's the best player in the league.
So good.
I don't think there should be an argument for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 and 11 from Bobby Portis. That man, he's so like solid for them. Like,
He's definitely a solid role player for them.
11 for Grayson Allen. We don't talk about him though.
We don't like him though.
You gotta, and for Boston, I mean, 21 for Tatum, not below average night.
Below average night, especially what he's been doing in these playoffs.
Oh, for sure. What he did in the first round, that's way below.
Mm-hmm.
12 and 10 for Horford, solid game. Like Horford, everyone was kind of thinking he was done. But last year in Oklahoma, they just thought his career was just over. But I mean, he's showing a little bit of a resurgence here in Boston.
A little bit of foreshadowing, but he played well in this series.
He did, yeah. You had 12 for Derek White, a guy whose name I haven't really heard much at all this playoff, but he had a really solid game there.
I kind of forgot that he got traded there.
Yeah, so did
at the trade deadline. I was just thinking of him on the Spurs.
Yeah. I mean, Jaylen Brown only had 12, which I think is a big reason for the loss for them.
Mm-hmm.
For your second option, you need him to be better. And especially when your other guys aren't doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, you need your second guy to be able to step up. That's what they call it, a 1-2 punch for.
Yeah.
The first guy punches and the second guy punches back.
Yeah. So the game was actually really close for the first quarter and a half, but then Milwaukee just took off and they just kind of left him in the dust. Like Milwaukee won the rebound battle, they shot better, and they had 4 less turnovers in the game, which
just an all-around win.
I'm saying
Milwaukee.
if you win those 3, I don't see how a team could lose.
That's very true, and it's kind of just an all-around win for Milwaukee.
Facts. On to game 2, Boston, they come back here and they get a win, 109-86, showing that they got some fight in them as well. A 30-piece in Jaylen Brown stepping up from game 1.
Oh yeah, way better.
Way better. And yet 29 from Tatum stepping up from game 1.
That's the 1-2 punch, man.
21 from Grant Williams. I didn't even hear his name in the first game.
Who is that?
Don't disrespect Grant
I'm
Williams.
not disrespecting Grant Williams, but
11
a lot of people didn't know who Grant Williams was before this series.
He's had a great playoff so far. Yeah, 11 and 11 from Al Horford too. Solid double-double. I mean, Giannis did what he could. 28 and 9 boards.
Solid game.
Doing Giannis things.
Mm-hmm.
Got 19 from Holiday, which, I mean, that's good for Holiday. But with no Middleton, you kind of need a little more.
You need Holiday to be 22, 23 game for the whole series.
I mean, this game, Boston led the entire game. Didn't let Milwaukee get a single lead, and they just dominated this game. There's not even really a ton to talk about. They barely won the rebound battle. Shot 30% better from 3. Milwaukee only shot 16% from the 3-point line.
Wow.
But yeah, other than that, this game was just a dominant win for Boston.
Yeah, Milwaukee, even last year's playoffs, they were definitely a team that would win, live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot, and they died by the jump shot.
Yeah.
And Boston just kind of flipped the script that game.
Yeah. Game 3, Milwaukee takes a 2-1 lead, 103-101. 42 and 12 for the Greek Freak.
Oh yeah,
man, the Greek Freak. He's pretty good.
Wonder what dad joke he said before that game.
And another 25 piece for Drew Holiday. That's
what they need to win.
You need him to do 20 plus a game. I mean, you can't really get mad at him if he doesn't do that. But I mean, for them to win the series, he has to keep doing that.
He has to.
Yeah, you got 13 and 10 for Brook Lopez, a guy who I haven't heard at all this playoffs. He's had a tough year. He missed the majority of the season with an injury.
He was injured a lot. I like this next line that you got here.
Yeah, I got 0 points for Grayson Allen.
Love that. I love that. All the homies hate Grayson Allen.
Here's the interesting part. Only 10 points for Jason Tatum. He got 4 of 19 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. That is extremely rare. Tatum's usually one of the more efficient stars in the league. He's a very efficient player. He won't always, maybe he doesn't always put up the huge numbers, but he's usually at least efficient.
Yeah, he's a guy who'll shoot the ball well. I mean, maybe having to play defense on Giannis might be wearing down this series.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Yeah, but, I mean, Jaylen Brown tried to pick up the slack there. He had 27 and 12. That's a really nice game from Jaylen.
Mm-hmm.
Got 22 and 16 from Horford, looking like he's in Atlanta still.
Damn, Horford.
I mean, like Milwaukee won the rebound battle.
But they also have Giannis and Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis.
Yeah, I mean, Al Horford.
I guess.
Robert Williams.
True, but I just see Milwaukee as a bigger, stronger team.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, listed Tatum's like 6'9", like 210, but what I've heard every
6'8", 215.
6'8". What everyone says, including like coaches, teammates, opponents, they say no. He's like 6'11", like 250.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's a big man.
He's a big guy.
Yeah. So I mean, both teams shot pretty poorly. They were both below 30% from the three. It's kind of a tough game. It was pretty close actually, but then Milwaukee just took a lead in the third, and Boston just couldn't get it back. Like it was just like they just took it away. Yeah.
That's it.
On to game 4. This one, Boston wins, tying the series up once again, 116-108 for them. Got another step-up game for Tatum, 30 and 13.
Seems like he just needs like a game to recharge.
Yeah, it seems like every other game he plays bad, then he just comes back and he's like, you know what, I want to win.
Guys, I still started in the All-Star game. Don't forget about me.
Then you got a nice 30 and 8 for Al Horford, looking like he's in Atlanta once again.
Once again, turn back the clock.
All-star Horford. Maybe not quite. Got 18 for both Smart and Jaylen Brown, which for Jaylen Brown it's below average, but for Smart it's a solid game. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
solid game.
solid game for Marcus Smart. Yeah. I mean, once again, can't fault Giannis here. 34 and 18.
This guy's been going off these playoffs.
And he is the best player in the league, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Reigning Finals MVP.
Yup. Yup.
Yeah, 17 for Lopez and 16 for Holiday. I mean, Drew's got to be better.
Yep.
But that's not a horrible game for Drew still, but you need more with Middleton out, as you said countless times already.
As we've brought up this whole series.
The game was actually really close, but Milwaukee took a 10-point lead with a minute left in the third, but Boston actually fought back and took back the lead. And they fought back and prevented the 3-1 deficit.
That's big for Boston to not have to be able to climb out of that hole.
That would have been tough. I mean, Milwaukee won the rebound battle, but they barely shot worse. But
that's what kind of shifted it.
Yeah.
And having a little bit less scoring without Middleton.
Yeah. Here's a pretty fun game here. 110-107 from Milwaukee, taking a 3-2 lead in the series. 40 and 11 for Giannis.
Okay.
Man's built different.
Okay.
Man is built different, quite literally. And you got 24, 8, and 8 for Drew Holiday with the game with a huge block and a game-winning steal, both on Marcus Smart, saying, I deserve the Defensive Player of the Year.
This is the game with Marcus Dumb. making dumb plays out there for Boston.
I mean, you had 14 and 15 for Portis off the bench, too. Like, when you have your backup big going 14 and 15, that's great.
I thought he was starting in place of Middleton.
No, not this game, at least.
Not this game? I think it was like on and off he was starting.
Yeah, I think they started him every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pat Connaughton. Like I haven't really heard a ton. He had 13 off the bench this year in this game.
That's a solid game for him. He's been kind of.
He's a really solid player, but he won't always put up the numbers every game.
You're not because you're not gonna see him behind Giannis and.
I think he's pretty underrated, but I also think he's not like a 6 man of the year candidate or anything. I think he's a really solid like 8-9 guy. Yeah. I think he's one of the better 8-9 guys in the league.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Up there, yeah.
You got a guy like that who can shoot it. And,
and take it to the hoop.
Yeah, and like late in your bench, which is good to have.
Yeah, that's he fits the team well because it's just allows him spacing with Giannis. Knocks down the corner threes when Giannis gets to the paint and needs to pass it out, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a little bit worse, like a Walmart Middleton,
but a little more athletic.
A little bit more athletic, yeah.
You also got 34 for Tatum, trying to fight back, but wasn't enough to win this time. 26 for Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's what
solid game for him.
when you get those two guys putting that up, you just kind of need to hope the other team plays solid at least. Which I mean, Smart 15, but had those. He got blocked and stole the ball. He got the ball stolen from him at the end of the game, which makes his game look a lot worse.
Oh yeah, might hear about that play a little bit on a different episode.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
A little foreshadowing. But
Milwaukee just dominated the glass in this game. Like Boston didn't really stand a chance.
Yeah,
but they did shoot better. But Milwaukee made more threes, which is why they had more points.
fair enough.
Yeah. It was a game of runs up to the end though. Like I was watching this game and it would just Milwaukee would be up and then Boston would take like a 7-point lead. Then Milwaukee would go up 5 and then it would go down to like tie game for a while back and forth.
Yeah, I mean it all just boils down to those two plays, with Smart going for the drive and Drew Holiday
Snatching that.
coming out of nowhere. Just give me that. Get that garbage out of here. Oh man, the Raptors announcers goated.
I miss him.
I miss them.
Anyways, on to Game 6. Game 6, Boston ties it up, forces Game 7. 108-95 win. 46-9 for JT.
Okay,
Jason Tatum is him.
Have a night.
Have a night. I mean, he's been having some nights this playoff.
Been having multiple nights.
You only got 22 from Brown, but with 46 from Tatum, you don't need more. You got 21 from Smart, an amazing game for him. I mean, can't fault Giannis. You're 44, 20, and 6.
Okay, Giannis.
That is one of the best games of the playoff period.
Yeah, that's an all around great game.
But no one's gonna talk about it because they didn't win.
Because they lost the game.
Unfortunately, yeah, 17 from Holiday. It's a good game for him, but like we've said, we need more.
You need more scoring.
Another 14 from Connaughton. He's been stepping in the last couple games. The game was actually really close at the start, but Boston just held a lead. They held it by a little bit for the whole game, and then they just kind of like at the end of the fourth, they pulled away.
They just kind of took it away, and Milwaukee just kind of couldn't get over that hump that game.
They rebounded a lot, which that's mainly thanks to Giannis with his 20. But they won the battle there, but Boston shot almost 15% better from 3. It seems like they've just shot better.
Live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot.
You've said that about 20 times in this podcast.
Hey man, I like that saying. I love that saying.
Hey, well, we got a Game 7 here.
Only the second Game 7 of the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Winner go home. And the team going home is the reigning champs. Boston wins 109-81.
No way, Jose.
Not even close.
2 blowouts in Game 7s?
I know
what?
That's crazy. It's a crazy night. But yeah, and it wasn't even who you'd expect. It was the team was led by Grant Williams with 27 points.
Okay.
Like that's a great game for him. Like he's been starting this series after his performance against the Nets, but I think he's well deserved.
Oh yeah. I mean, he went off this game. He was just shooting.
Yeah, but Tatum had a solid 23. Was efficient. Didn't really need to do anything more. He didn't play a ton in the fourth quarter as well, so that's probably why.
Yeah, it was a blowout, so
yeah. Jaylen Brown only had 19. Smart had 11. But a big game here for Peyton Pritchard. He had 14 off the bench in only 17 minutes, which he's a guy who's been a little invisible this playoff, but it's good for him to get some confidence back heading into the conference finals.
He's a guy who can get going, just kind of hit a few 2-3 threes in a row and just kind of get that feeling going and go off.
Another game where they lose and you cannot blame Giannis. He had 25, 20, and 9.
Okay, but he did not shoot well in the second half.
No,
he did not shoot well. He missed a lot of close shots that game.
You can't.
No. You can't say
he still shot like 40%, like close to 40% from the field.
But
when you're inside,
it was carried by his first half.
Yeah,
because he only made like 2 or 3 shots in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, another 21 from Drew Holiday, which that's
he did play. Drew did play well this series.
Drew had a really good series. He did step up for Middleton being out, but it just wasn't enough. Another 15 and 10 double for Brook Lopez. Only 10 points from Bobby Portis, which is still solid for him. But yeah, the game was actually really close, but Boston just absolutely dominated the second half. Just didn't really give Milwaukee a chance. They dominated the 3-point line as well at 40%, and Milwaukee only shot 12%.
I could say it again.
Don't you dare.
I could say it again.
Milwaukee did shoot better overall, but they just couldn't hit a 3 for their life in this game. In Boston, they hit the threes. they knocked him down, and that resulted in a blowout.
Yeah, that's what kind of was the difference in this game.
Yeah, that's wrapping up the games, but here's some just quick final takes. Former champs getting knocked out by the real deal man, Jason Tatum.
The real deal, McNeil, Jason Tatum.
But yeah, man, Tatum's shown in his playoff that he is a superstar.
Yeah, he's been stepping up these playoffs. Is playoff Tatum a new thing to be scared of?
Maybe. I mean, Giannis was the first player in history to have 200 plus points, 100 plus rebounds, and 50 plus assists, but still lose. You cannot fault him in one game in this entire series.
Cannot. He was hooping. He was a hooper this series.
He's been the best player so far in the playoffs, but unfortunately his team's out, so
doesn't matter.
Don't mean a thing. Got the ring.
Exactly.
Both teams played really well, but Boston just dominated Game 7, and it's tough for Milwaukee. Milton being hurt really hurts the Bucks.
Mm-hmm. We said it all series, man. They missed it. They missed his scoring production.
Oh, for sure, and his defense. He's a really good defender.
Mm-hmm.
You could just, Tatum and Brown both played really well. Brown had a game or two where he was a little. They both had a game or two where they were lower points, but they played just pretty well overall.
Yeah.
Al Horford, he had a really good series. Slowed down a little bit closer to the end, but he still played well.
He had two great games this series.
2 great games and a couple of solid ones.
Yeah.
I mean, the Celtics bench players like Pritchard and Grant Williams, who started the series, he came from the bench.
Yeah.
They've stepped up, and they're showing that they have a deep roster that's good for making the deep playoff run.
That's very true.
It was just this series was just really entertaining. Boston's going on to play Miami in the Eastern Finals, but I think next year the Bucks will be back.
Yeah, I mean this series,
the Bucks, they are not a team that will blow up easy. They have that. The only thing that I could see is maybe if Drew Holiday, he's getting to the point where he might be starting to go downhill. He's been really solid for a large amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not even that old, but Giannis is like 26, 27. He's not going to go downhill.
No, Giannis is just. I think Giannis can even go up a little bit from where he is. Especially getting a little bit more consistent from the free throw line. I know he has gotten better, but even more.
Yeah. You want to take over here with the Eastern preview?
Just kind of one last point. This series was really back and forth. No team won 2 games in a row until the Celtics.
Yeah. When
they won Game 6 and Game 7. So I mean, it was two balanced teams. I would love to see what would have happened if there were no injuries. Come on, Adam Silver, just turn off injuries.
This ain't 2K. This ain't 2K.
This ain't 2K. But anyways, man.
Let's get Eastern Conference
Finals. We got the number 1 seed Heat, the number 2 seed Celtics. The 2 best teams in the East this year. The Celtics are 2-1 against Miami. I mean, 2 top defensive teams. Celtics were the best defensive team in the league, and the Heat were around the 3rd best. So I mean, it's going to be a defensive showdown, as it kind of showed during the regular season. I mean, the scores 95-78 Celtics in the first game. This one was a little bit more scoring, 122-92 Celtics. And then the third game was 106-98 for the Heat. So, I mean, not a lot of offense. The Celtics averaged 105 points per game on kind of 45% shooting and 35% from 3. So, kind of that. But that points per game is also carried by the 122 points that they scored in the second game. The Heat didn't score a lot against them during the season series. Only 92 points a game. Struggled a little bit more from the field, only 40% and 32% from 3. Kind of some key scorers for each team. Butler, 22, 3.5 rebounds and 2 assists, but he only played in 2 of the 3 games. And then also for the Heat, Bam, not as dominant as he was against other teams during the regular season. Only 14 points per game. But I mean, he averaged 8 rebounds a game and almost 6 assists. Yeah. So he was still productive.
Yeah, he was solid.
And then for the Celtics, Tatum only averaged 17.7 points per game against against the Heat.
Yeah.
Excuse me. 8.3 rebounds and 4 assists on 42% from the field. But this is the big one. He only shot 29% from 3 in those 3 games.
Playoff Tatum's different, though.
Playoff Tatum's different, man. And then Jaylen Brown. Except for that one game. Jaylen Brown stepped up in the season series against the Heat. Just under 25 points per game. Great shooting splits. So, I mean, I think it's going to be an exciting series. The 2 top seeds in the East. I think that the Heat are gonna come out of this one victorious.
I agree. I think Heat in 6.
I like the Miami Heat better. I think
It's their defense,
their defense. I mean, the
Jimmy's-
Celtics have a good defense too.
but they're more of a swarm in Miami here.
That's true. I mean, I think that the Heat have more weapons, more guys that
Yeah.
can go and give you 15, 20 points a game. I mean, you saw multiple times in the second round they had all 5 starters or 4 of the 5 starters with 10 plus points each, or
I
in
think
double digits.
These are 2 battle-tested, well-rounded teams. Like, these are 2
Oh yeah,
good squads.
I think this is gonna be a fun series to watch. Like I said, I like the Heat. So
Can't wait to see who's playing my Warriors in the finals.
oh yeah, can't wait to see who's playing the Warriors, man.
They definitely have beaten Dallas here.
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna walk over Dallas. But yeah, I like the Heat. Probably 6 games. Could maybe go to 7, but I think 6 games. Heat might show a little fortitude winning the series 4-2.
This is a series I predict 6, but I won't be surprised in 5 or 7.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll definitely be surprised with a sweep, but anything other than that, I won't be surprised.
I think it's gonna be kind of close games all
Yeah.
around. Like I don't think there's gonna be many blowouts, but I was actually surprised that the Celtics won the season series.
Yeah, so I mean, my guess is the majority of their games were in the second half of the year. Where
Probably.
the Celtics have been the best team in the league since January.
That's very true. They've been going off in the.
They were out of the playoffs in January, at the start of January.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's gonna be a fun series. That's gonna wrap up the Eastern Conference semifinals. We will see you
Perfect, yeah.
guys next week where
Next
we got
week.
our conference semifinals awards, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah,
Peace out.